Hey VC, what's up? It's me, yours truly. I am back to post a quick video here before I run out this afternoon, and this is going to be a video response to the Vinyl Corner, Mikko, his 800 subscribers contest. First of all, of course, congratulations on the 800 subs. Anyone in the VC pretty much knows who Mikko is. He's been around forever and been doing his thing for quite some time here in the VC, and great to have you as part of what we're doing here too, because he always brings a lot of good stuff to the table, especially like the good metal stuff he brings. That's some of the things I always kind of capture in his video, and I've discovered a lot of new groups through watching his videos there. But yeah, 800 subs, nice quick to the point type question. So again, I thought I could knock this out before I ran out, just to make sure I give my appreciation to the Vinyl Corner, Mr. Mikko. And so basically his 800 subscribers contest was autographed vinyl. He had a few questions about, what do we prefer, what do we think about it, and then kind of showing some of our autographed vinyl and that type of thing. So yeah, the really quick question. Personally, I absolutely love autographed vinyl. So yeah, I'm a huge fan of it. Not necessarily because it increases the value of a record, which I think it does, as long as the artist doesn't actually sign it to you, like to a specific name. That's the one thing I don't like with autographed vinyl. I don't like it when artists, sign to Brandon or whatever, even though I have no intentions on ever selling any of my vinyl, and, all of that. It's just, it takes away a little something for me, and I don't even know why, but so I just prefer to have the artist just sign it and not necessarily put to Brandon or whatever. So, but yeah, I do have a few that are like that, and again, it's not a big deal, it's just not my preference. Now, let me think about some of the other things that he asked about. Maybe I'll kind of explain really quick why I liked autographed vinyl so much. It's the exact same reasons why I like concerts so much. Outside of just, hearing the music and all that type of stuff, and also why I like concert t-shirts so much. And that is, like, whenever I go to a concert and, I'm sitting there, like I saw Gary Newman, last week, perfect example. And when he started playing the song Cars, obviously that's an 80s classic that most people know. It's kind of like at that moment when he's playing that song, and it's so cool and everything, it's been around for 20 plus years, and there's literally millions of copies of that all over the world, and his own CDs and 80s compilation CDs, and like that song is just digitally and pressed and whatever else, and millions of different copies of different formats all over the world. But at that one moment when he's there singing that song, that's the only real version of it. That's the actual human being in real life performing the song. Everything else in the world at that moment in time is nothing but a copy of that. And that's kind of the wow factors I tend to get out of being at a concert. It's just kind of knowing for that one moment, yeah, sure, there's obviously billions of copies of Metallica albums all over the world, and who knows how many people are listening to Enter Sandman or Master of Puppets, but as of right now, this is the only real version that exists in the entire world. Everything else is a copy, and I'm here experiencing the only real version with the only real people that make that song. So that's kind of how I get about concerts. So that kind of goes over to how I get about autographed vinyl. It's kind of the exact same thing. At that moment that the artist is signing that vinyl, it's just kind of like the connection of that record with that artist. Sure, they'll sign many more in the future. They've signed many in the past. They'll make more records and everything else. But kind of like at that one given moment, this was the only, not the only record that existed, but it was just like the only record in the world by this artist being held by this artist at this moment. And again, I'm sure that's probably a moment that most people maybe don't even kind of think about or whatever. But to me, that kind of always rings to me every time I see any signed copy of a record I might have. So there's definitely kind of a deeper meaning that goes into me having signed records. I'm kind of the same way too, I should say, about concert t-shirts. You know, I typically, I'll only buy t-shirts of bands that, if I go to a store and buy a t-shirt, 9 times out of 10 it's only because I'll never really get a chance to see that band in concert, like the Ramones, for example. But for the most part, when you look at my t-shirt collection, if you will, you know, 75% of all the t-shirts I have, which I'm probably at like, I don't know, 50 or 60, probably more than that actually, but 75% of those are all t-shirts I bought at a concert. And it's kind of the same thing. Every time I wear that shirt, you know, there was this tour this year, you know, it'll never happen again. They could do a lot of other tours, but this will be the only, you know, whatever tour. And so now that shirt represents that for me forever. And so again, I'm kind of, you know, talking about all these different things, but it just kind of goes to show or describe the same reasons why I like signed vinyl so much. What other questions did Mikko have? Remember you asked about the value. Again, I think in most cases it does increase the value if you were to try to sell it or something like that. I kind of mentioned about how I like to have vinyl signed. I'm not really big on the inserts and all of that. I just like front cover, you know, plain and simple. You know, nothing fancy, nothing crazy, just plain signature right across the front cover. That's the way I prefer. What other questions were there? I think that might have been the gist of the questions that Mikko asked. And then I guess you want us to also show kind of some of our signed vinyl. Oh, I remember. There was one more. When you asked about, have you ever bought any on, like online, or do you pay more for one that's signed and so forth? That is another rule that I have. I don't want any signed vinyl that wasn't signed for me. So I would never get on eBay and, you know, buy a signed copy of Van Halen 2 just because it was signed by, you know, X, Y, and Z. That's just not stuff that I would ever want. And all that stuff I mentioned, you know, a minute ago about the only one and blah, 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 it takes all that away for me because I wasn't there to experience that, you know. So, yeah, I'd never get online and buy autographed vinyl. Any vinyl I have signed, it has to be signed specifically for me. Now, that may be a situation where maybe I'm not necessarily there, because, for example, you know, our boy here in the VC, Billy Creone, he knows a lot of 80s artists, and he's gotten some albums signed for me in the past. But even in that scenario, I would send him my albums, and he would go meet the artist, and then send the vinyl back to me. To me, that's still having vinyl signed specifically for me. It wasn't somebody in Germany that got a signed copy and threw it on eBay. I don't like that, and I get no satisfaction out of that. So yeah, all vinyl must be signed specifically for me. So now let me kind of go around. I'll show you really quick some of my signed vinyl, because most of it a good chunk of it I kind of utilize as artwork. I do still listen to all my signed vinyl. That might be something to kind of throw in. I don't take the records and just kind of, you know, tuck those away. You know, I'll put the covers up as artwork or whatever, and, you know, but I still pull out the records and listen to them whenever I want to listen. So let me kind of just take you around really quick and show you some of my signed vinyl. Alright, we'll start up here on my main rack. It's kind of dark up there, but there we go. I keep some of my records right up here on these little kind of picture stands. Maybe let's turn these lights off. I think that's kind of actually hurting the... Okay. So right here, here's the washed out. And again, this is one where I think it was the drummer actually put "To Brandon" on there, which, again, is not ideal, but at the same time, I was sitting and kind of talking to him for a while, and we were kind of, you know, going back and forth, and, you know, very humble guy, very appreciative guy and everything. So I think the fact that he wrote "To Brandon" on there was just because, you know, he was actually paying attention, and he you know, he knew my name when he went to go and sign my album. So you know, I'm not going to complain about that too much, but yeah, I typically just prefer to have just the regular signatures, but there's the entire band signed that one. This here is Son O and Boris, signed by Boris. This is the is it the 3 LP set on the blue vinyl. Now this was really nice too because, actually let me pull this down for a second. Set this here because they signed this here. That's the plastic I kept. Slide it over there for now. But then they also, and I wasn't even aware of this until sometime after. Let me find it here. Because the guitar player took it backstage to get the other two to sign it, and they actually signed it on the inside as well. Really, really nice guys. There's Watso's signature there. Well, I say guys and gal, I should say. I guess I skipped the other one, but yeah, all three of them signed the kind of inserts on the inside of that too, so that was kind of nice. Alright, and then next, that's Gary Newman, the one I just told you about the other day. And you know, this type of thing right here is, this Gary Newman I think is kind of my ideal type of signature. I like when an artist just kind of finds that, you know, nice open spot where the signature really sticks out. Especially when album covers have that, and so that right there is just kind of like perfect. That's ideally what I think a signature should look like on an album. And then my other Washed Out, which they signed, and then the Sword, and all four members signed that album. And then this is one of the ones from Billy Crayoni I was talking about. This is Cyndi Lauper, She's So Unusual, which I actually just saw yesterday, the new, I think, 25th anniversary pressing they put out of this. I didn't know they actually did that, but I saw that vinyl the other day, which is kind of neat. Slightly different cover. So, now I'm not going to go through and show my autographed CDs. They're over here on the other corner. I'm just going to stick with the vinyl here, since that's what Mikko was asking about. Again, some of my autographed 45s. Lisa, Cult Jam, Derek. That's Conduits by Andrima, and then more Lisa there with the 45. Then you move over here. Here's some I have. Let me get this light off. I think displayed on my wall. Looks like that. I should have closed those blinds. I'm sorry, guys. What can I do it like this? So the first one here is Corrosion of the Conformity, and then you got Boris. That's Attention Please, and you got Heavy Rocks. So now this is another one of those. I'm sorry, that glare is just killing. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, another one of those covers just really, I mean, begging for a signature, which is kind of that flat purple cover, which is really nice. I wish they would have signed a little bigger, but I'm not complaining. And this is probably my favorite one right here, of course, which is again, Fight the Glare. My signed copy of the Melvins, which is really, really cool. And this is one I tell the story about too. If you look really close, it's probably not going to show up on camera, you'll see some very light marks, and yeah, I don't think it's really showing up. But when Dale was kind of walking by me, coming in the door, and I asked him for a quick signature, and of course he's like, oh yeah, sure. And I pulled out my pen, and I guess I didn't realize it was a two-sided pen. I'd had it for a mark, you know, forever, and didn't realize it was kind of two-sided. And so I opened up the side that had never really been used. And so when he went to sign, it wasn't working. And you can kind of see some very light marks below his signature where the pen just kind of rubbed across it. Didn't damage it or anything, but just kind of, you know, that really light pen not working mark. And I was like, oh my gosh, you've got to be kidding me. Like, I'm sitting here right in front of this guy with a copy of my Melvins LP, and I'm not going to get a signature because the stupid pen worked. And he was the one that noticed it was a double-sided pen and opened it up and then popped that signature on there. So I was like, oh, I would have just been so depressed if I would have missed that. And then, of course, there's Les's signature right over there. So that's probably my prized possession when it comes to autographed pieces. Probably my favorite, though, is this one here, which is Godsmack. Of course, Sully Irma being my, or it's not Sully Irma, Godsmack being my favorite, one of my favorite groups. It was awesome getting that autograph from him. Kitty, again, same type of situation with her signature there. Stupid pen stopped working. This was a situation where after the concert I sat there holding the pen, and I was holding it with the cap off, so it kind of it started to dry out. So by the time she got over there, the stupid pen wasn't working, so her signature didn't come through as clear, but it's still there. And I was like, oh, you can't get out of here without signing this Mercedes. So anyway, that was a nice one. Pallbearer, again, got all their signatures there. Really cool guys here too, because I bought this album at their concert, and you know, they were an opener for, was it Graveyard? Or who? I think it was Graveyard maybe. But anyway, I didn't catch them inside, and as I was walking to my car, they were just standing out by their little bus. I just walked up to them. I was like, hey, you guys mind? And they were like, oh yeah, heck yeah, man. You know, really, really cool guys. Awesome album too. And then autograph of Graveyard. I have everyone but the bass player. I did not catch him that night, which really sucked. But yeah, all three of their autographs there. So I'll catch him next time they come through. And then of course Static X. There's Wayne's signature. Then the other four. It's kind of interesting too, because I noticed Static X has a very systematic way of signing things, it seems like. I've gotten probably 4 autographs from between CDs and vinyl, and every single time they've always signed it the same way. They've always kind of picked their corners, and they've all signed in the same corner every time. So I don't know, that's kind of neat, I guess. Washed out 45s. So that's, I actually had 2 of those. I got both of those signed. And then Corrosion of the Conformity, another 45. Another Lisa and Cult Jam 45. And then right behind here, this goes back to what I was saying before about how I oftentimes like vinyl that have that nice area to be signed, kind of like that Newman. Because again, this is the Washed Out Paracosm signed by all the band members, but you can see it's kind of hard to pick out their signatures. It's kind of hidden in that very busy cover. And with this one too, I took the shrink off and had him sign it, then I was able to put the shrink back on too, so I can keep that Paracosm sticker there. So, but anyway, next here we have The Best of Sam and Dave, signed by David Porter. Now, he was not Sam or Dave, but he was the one that did a majority of the writing for Stax Records with Isaac Hayes. So he's the one that wrote Hold On, I'm Coming. He's the one that wrote Soul Man. You know, he was one of the co-writers on Soulfinger. I mean, just all kinds of stuff. Like I said, Stax Records basically is Dave Porter and Isaac Hayes. And so David Porter signed that for me, which was nice. And these are some of the ones that Mr. Crayoni hooked me up with. You know, some of the great stuff from the 80s. Taylor Dane, including a couple of cassettes there. Gloria Estefan, again to Brandon, along with some of their cassettes. The Fat Boys, that's a great one too. Debbie Gibson, Tiffany, this is kind of 80s Rose, you can see. And then more Lisa and the Cult Jam. And actually this is kind of neat too, turn on the light there, because Lisa actually kissed it for me, which I asked her to do in a little letter that I sent her. And Billy actually filmed her signing these for me too, and sent the video over to me. And you know, it's kind of cool having one of your favorite 80s icons, you know, as far as 80s music that I love so much, and everything, actually talking to you on camera, thanking you and signing your albums and kissing your albums for you. I mean, geez Louise, Lisa, holy cow. The Shrine, saw them in concert a while ago and got that. And then before I move over there, let me show these two as well. Another Gloria Estefan signature, along with a little note that she wrote me. Yeah, I feel the jealousy in the VC right now. And then here's one from Jade from Pretty Poison. And I think it's kind of cool there too. Look what she wrote. To Brandon, hope to hang on your wall of fame. That's pretty freaking awesome right there. Total sweetheart. So those are, oh wait a second, I'm skipping a couple. I'm sorry. So that's where I keep my signed CDs right there. I almost forgot these two by the sword. So I got all those at the same time at the same concert. So anyway, but then yeah, so after those there, right down my hallway here, this is the box where I keep the rest of all my signed LPs. Now this can be one of two things. This can be stuff I just don't have room to set out there right now, or also where I keep some of the records, like of some of the ones that are in the frames, so I can still listen to them when I want. But everything in this box is signed LPs. So you have another signed copy of Graveyard, Bonded by Blood. I only had the lead singer and guitar player. I didn't get a chance to catch the rest of the band that night, but still, that was kind of great. There's the Melvin's Houdini album. I just put it in this other cover, of course, to protect it. Ponderosa. Let's see, those are the Washed Out albums. The Shrine. What else we have here? Another Taylor Dane signed LP. Mike Doty, another signed LP. That's another, again, great cover that's made for signing, even though I kind of hate the way he did his name. Well, I kind of like it, but I kind of don't at the same time. Just so much nice area up there, I just think it just kind of fill it up. But anyway. And D-Man, of course, he's in the box as well, Derek Vaughn. That, along with Sonospheres, where he signed that one as well. And I always request for Derek to sign his albums when he sends them to me. And then he also signed my Flyover. Band of Horses, only signed by the bass player, but still very cool. More Lisa Lisa. More Cyndi Lauper from Billy Crayoni, as well as Pretty Poison. To Brandon, Catch Me, I'm Falling in Love. Are you kidding me? This was kind of a diss by the band that opened for, oh gosh, I'm forgetting the name now. But anyways, kind of some new guys that were on the, up and coming, kind of like their stuff, kind of death metal, black metal type stuff, and caught them after their show and got their signatures as well. And then I also got this copy of Boris Smiled signed as well by all three. Other signatures kind of down there, somewhat hard to see on that cover. So anyway, as far as just vinyl goes, that's what I have as far as signed vinyl. So not a ton of stuff, but again, as I'm able to catch up with more artists, I will have more to show you. Alright, so as always, thanks for watching, VC, and we will talk to you guys soon. Alright, take care, guys.